Good morning, and thank you for the invitation to provide a few remarks to you. I apologize I'm not able to be there in person today as I previously intended. The 87th legislative session was not anticipated to be a transportation session, yet it was incredibly productive on that front. I worked very closely with Senator Nichols, and we were able to pass legislation that would reauthorize TxDOT to utilize the Texas Mobility Fund. We passed legislation that would study pavement consumption and whether our revenue streams are sustainable as we move into the future. We also passed HJR 99, which was Proposition 2 on the ballot this November, allowing counties to utilize transportation reinvestment zones to develop transportation infrastructure like roads, bridges, bike lanes, mass transit, rail, sidewalks, you name it. Proposition 2 passed overwhelmingly with 63% of the vote, and I thank all of those advocates who helped turn out the vote for Proposition 2. Right before Thanksgiving, my committee submitted interim charges and recommendations to Speaker Phelan, and in a few weeks, we will likely receive the official interim charges from the Speaker. These interim charges are directives to the committee on what issues we should study throughout 2022, and they will undoubtedly lay the framework for committee priorities during the 88th legislative session. One of the major issues that we must continue to address is the long-term transportation funding needs of the state. I'm committed to ensuring that Texas is preparing its transportation infrastructure for the future. The Texas population is projected to almost double by 2050, which is only 29 years away. So Texas leaders must ensure that they are preparing for the possible doubling of traffic congestion. 66% of all Texans currently live in our 5 major metropolitan regions: Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, and San Antonio. And the majority of the population increases over the next few decades will continue to be in those 5 regions, where we are already seeing major congestion issues. The Texas legislature needs local leaders like yourselves to tell us what your community needs to prepare for the future and to help generate solutions from the local level. Some communities need their highways expanded, but they're waiting in line like everyone else to get state dollars to build out their roads and other projects. Texas has a lot of highway construction needs and not enough money to go around, unfortunately. So one solution to this is to find ways to generate more state revenue for highway development. If you have a solution, I'm inviting you to share it with my office. Some communities need funding for transportation alternatives like transit and light rail to relieve traffic congestion through their major corridors. One part of the issue is that the state of Texas does not provide any funding for metropolitan mass transportation alternatives. If you have a solution here, I'm again welcoming you to share it with my office. We need solutions. We can talk all day about the challenges ahead in transportation, but the solutions will come up from the bottom up. The legislature needs you to engage with us on the issues that are important to you. We need you to talk to all members of the legislature and not just those in transportation committees as well. Although we can't look into the crystal ball and see what lies ahead, we must make sure that Texas is correctly planning for the future. To wrap up my remarks, I'll leave you with this. Transportation is and always will be a bipartisan matter. This last session, I experienced this firsthand, with overwhelming majority of legislators voting in favor of transportation bills that provided real solutions to our state's challenges. Because of this, I have a renewed optimism that Texas will be ready for the future. However, I firmly believe Texas will become ready by locally driven strategies and visions that are passed to the legislature. That being said, I implore you to stay active, stay engaged with your state leaders, and keep us educated on what your communities need to flourish. Thank you again for the invitation to be here today. Please know my door is always open to you. May God bless you, and may God bless the great state of Texas.